Trey Nitty.
And listen, today, August 11th, 1973, begins the first day of hip-hop culture. Give it up, hip-hop. Make some noise for hip-hop. So today is the 52nd anniversary of hip-hop culture. The month of August is Hip-Hop Recognition Month, and it's apropos that we're talking about economics and things of that nature, because in the last 30 years, no one has made more money for black people than hip-hop culture. Word?
Word.
The thing that we have to do now is to get control and the power, because the rap music is turning our people into a whole nother entity. But it starts today. As I tell people, the culture starts August 11th, 1973. The corporation doesn't start till 79. So we had 6 years growing amongst ourselves. We can never forget the core of the culture, because the corporation, they don't care about any of us or our children or our children's children. Word? Word? So it's up for us to understand the history. Hip-hop is just the name that we're calling the latest movement in African liberation and empowerment. That's the latest name that we're calling. There's nothing new that we're doing. We use the acronym Higher Infinite Powers Healing Our People. 1973 to right now, that's how we're moving forward. If you agree, say word.
Thank you again for being in the space. We want to go ahead and get this conversation started. Tonight we're talking about how economics can affect our community in a positive way. And so we got a couple of brothers up here that have worked in that space, have some good insight in that space. So they're going to share, and then I want to make sure that, we have time to have a Q&A as well. So, brothers, if you could introduce yourselves, and we'll start with you, and then just give about 90 seconds or so of where you're at in the space and what you do, and then we'll delve into some questions.
Corey Network King is my name. The company is Pro Networker. We actually this month is celebrating 15 years in business. Y'all can applaud that. My company does the same thing. We've been doing the same thing for the last 15 years, which is helping business owners grow their business by meeting more people, by networking. And we've created events to help them do so. Some of our smaller events, we might have 2 or 3 people. Our largest event, anybody go to the Atlanta Black Expo this year? If you didn't, you get a chance to go next year. We had 230 plus exhibitors. A little under 2,000 people came out to celebrate black business. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Greetings, brothers. Maurice Thompson. As it relates to this particular topic, I'm going to cover 2 different spaces. So for the past, I would say probably about 6 years, I've been in different transportation business. Last 4 focused on delivery business, supporting Amazon, and then also doing work for brothers and members of our community through nonprofit organizations as well. So I'm excited to be here tonight to be able to share and participate in this dialogue.
So question for the panel. With the emergence of artificial intelligence and the robots, what can we do, what can all of us do to start a business that is AI-proof, in your opinion? What can we do to start a business that is AI-proof to start, and something that we could feed off of? And I'm definitely talking to you because, Corey, I know you do networking, right?
Who here is, let's say, very knowledgeable about AI? Raise your hand. Okay, so like 3 or 4 people. So everybody else not as knowledgeable about AI, right? The number one thing that you need to do is to be somewhat knowledgeable about AI. And when I say somewhat, is in order to know something might replace you, you need to learn about it, right? To kind of find out what some of its capabilities are. Now, I'm not big into technology at all. I'm trying to get better, right? But it's one of those to where I would still want to stay up on what's happening so I know a little bit. Now, for me, I haven't seen a robot be able to create an event from start to finish, invite the people, bring the people, run the event, and all of that. So I think I should be good for a little bit, right? But not everybody's going to do events. So you want to look at your business or your potential business or your interest to say, hey, can somebody else do this business, right? Can something else do it? And it doesn't necessarily mean that if let's say AI could do your business, what if you were supporting AI to do it, right? So some people talk about AI taking their job, but what about you supporting AI to do this thing efficiently? So you're now actually creating an opportunity for yourself. So anybody that's creating something that's assisting AI, you're going to have some longevity, right? So again, it's trying to be able to think outside the box with it. And lastly, it's to talk to other people. Those people who raise your hand again if you're knowledgeable about AI, and keep them up. Now, keep them up. For those people who are not, your hand is not up, look at the people whose hand is up. This is the power of networking. You look at the people whose hand is up and you get with them. Hey, brother, hey, I saw you, hey, listen, I saw you good at AI. Can you help me know what you know? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to help you do it.
I would add to that, how many of you done a search on Google? So just about everybody, Yahoo search, anything like that. So those who are versed in AI, you're versed in prompts, right? So most of the tools that are out there are prompt-based. The prompt is a more sophisticated way of simply asking Google to go find something for you, except you frame it as almost if you're talking to another person. And you're telling them, hey, so I'll give you one that I ran after I was on my way back. I said, what are the most effective AI tools for nonprofit organizations to utilize for expansion? I got a list of probably about 8 or 9 tools. I took that information, I went to another AI engine, and I said, prepare a presentation that can then show how to use these AI tools to organizations. Got a whole nother presentation that came out of that. I could turn that presentation, flip it, turn it into a Word document. Now there's a booklet that I can offer. That took me all of maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay, so where they're talking about, when the general public and most people talk about how AI is going to look to replace people, it's in several different places. So I'll speak about robotics and then AI and robotics. From an AI standpoint, how many of you write content, like do the writing for content that goes out on the web? It goes in Instagram, goes in your social media feeds. Right, so you're doing that, you do that manually right now. You type it in, you use AI to do it. There you go. In just a couple of prompts, it can basically it can give you all the content. You can go to another AI tool, it'll lay it out for you. All you have to do is drop it in and post it. That's how AI can be utilized. And it'd probably be great if we had a session and got some laptops and some screens, and we just showed you how simple it is to do AI. And I know I'm close to my 90 seconds, so I know Ear Doctor about to hit me off. But then quick to robotics. So I worked with Amazon for a period of time, and I remember the day I walked into this warehouse outside of Joliet, and they took me to the top floor of the warehouse, and then I had to sign a whole bunch of things, and it was nothing but robots on that whole floor. And the people were so very proud to tell me how many packages a robot could pick and pull and deliver so it can be ready to get shipped out to customers. Then we went down the next floor, it was nothing but people. And so they basically pitted the people against the robots. So if the robots could move 400 pieces in an hour, they were pushing the people to do 400 pieces in an hour. And the people were hustling, doing whatever they could do to try to keep up with the robots. But how many breaks does a robot need? None. What time does a robot go home? He only goes home when his battery is dead to charge up. And then another robot comes back out. So it just keeps cycling and cycling and cycling. And the robots right now, I know you probably watch science fiction movies. In the future, they may have rights, but right now they have no rights. So they just run them and crank out as much as they can, and it becomes highly competitive in that space for us as individuals to try to compete. Because, I mean, you can only do so much before you need a break. There you go. There you go. And now they're down in delivery as well. So if you see these little robots rolling around the street with these small deliveries coming to your house, that essentially was a person's job to take that package or that product or that food from wherever it originated to wherever it was going to be delivered. So that's real life. And then the next place you see these robotics in play, combined with AI, is in the Waymo vehicles you see on the street here in Atlanta. Anybody do Uber or Lyft driving? If you do Uber or Lyft driving, that is the direction that they would like to go long term. And the more autonomous vehicles they can get on the road where they don't have to worry about how I drive, how I make my Chicago stops, or, you know, when I want to cut over, if I hit my blinker once, that means I got the right of way now and I'm coming over. As soon as they can figure all that stuff out, you'll see more and more of those vehicles out on the road. So I'm giving you like three different jobs that potentially could be impacted, if not totally displaced, by a combination of AI and robotics. So as the brother stated, the key for us is knowledge.
So, brothers, you know, we're talking about building community through economic power. I think it's essential that we, you know, just kind of as a baseline, talk about what does that look like, right? You brothers have both done some stuff in business and have been very involved in the community as well. So talk about a little bit about that. What does that look like, building community through economic power?
The very first place that wealth starts in anything, it's a B word. Anybody know what it is? Say it again. It's a B word. He just told you. What does everybody say it? That ain't everybody. Everybody say it. Budget. Budget. If there is one thing that you leave with today, actually two things, but the power of a budget. The power of a budget. That's where wealth starts. The power of a budget. If you can't budget $10, you can't budget $10,000. The power of a budget. They talk about black folks having 1.3, 1.4, 1.8 trillion dollars of spending money, right? That's not our issue. Our issue is not having money. That's not our issue. It's where we spend it and how we spend it. Budget. Wealth starts from budget. And to understand budgeting, you just have to start learning about money and what money does. All money is well, back in the day it was a piece of paper, but now, you know, coins, whatever, digital, whatever. But all it is a tool. That's it. It's a tool. Anybody who says that they're not good with money, they probably don't have a good relationship with money. They might like money, but money don't like them. Anybody feel like that? You like money, but money don't like you. If you're not sure, check your bank account. If there's not enough in there, then money probably doesn't like you the way you like it, right? Budget. Budget. Everything that I have done in life after college, I have been able to do based on my budget. Budget. And I say that because that's where it starts and why it's important as us as black men taking over the family, being the lead for the family, regardless of what that family looks like. We got to manage these resources, which is budget. Budget. Now, so I'm Corey Network King, right? I got a twin identical brother called Corey Tax Guy. That's my tax business. I've had my tax business for about 23 years, okay? And I'm just gonna give you my opinion, is that it starts with, obviously, the budget first, then your savings, right? And we're talking emergency savings. It's like a couple $1,000 just in case something happens. Then you need to have 1 month of living expenses in the bank. then 3, then 6 if you have kids, probably 6 to 12. Once you hit 12, now you're saturated in there. Now start looking at investing, or maybe 6 and then looking at investing. But you don't do investments until you have these savings in place. Because your savings and your investments are 2 different vehicles. They do different things. They have 2 different functionalities. So some people are like, oh yeah, I'm saving, I'm putting money in stocks. No. That's not savings. That's investments. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm investing, I'm getting 1% on my savings account. No. That's not saving. That's not investing. That's savings. They have 2 different functionalities. My opinion is you make sure that you have your savings in place first, then you start doing investments.
Yeah, I agree with what the brother said. Like early on, back when I was in my early 20s, we met another young brother who was he was into investment banking, and we asked the same question. We were like, hey, we got a little extra money, can we start investing? And the brother told us, he said, do you have any debts? You got any credit card debts? He said, yeah, but we still got a little bit extra. He said, take that money, pay off those debts. He said, what's the interest rate on those credit cards? He said, okay, this is the interest rate you could get if you put it into this investment vehicle. And like the brothers, I think you're coaching outstandingly, you put it into the market, that's a risk. There's a high degree of risk you put it into the market, so there may not be a set level of return. So as the brother stated, and I totally agree, pay your debts off, build your support in place so you can sustain yourself in case something happens. So when you go to invest, you're not looking to immediately try to pull those funds back, because you basically, you do a disservice to yourself, because if you don't leave it in there, you won't get the gains. And by the time you look to go back in there again, it may cost you more to get in, and now you're in an adverse position. So I totally agree with what the brother says there.
So, in y'all's opinion, what can we manufacture? Because Corey, you talked about spending 1.3, 1.4, 1.8 trillion as a community, and it's not how you make the money, it's how you spend it. In your opinion, where is our money going, and how can we pivot that?
My belief has always been, I want you to think about a metaphorical house, right? It's your house. And you have $1 that's in that house. This dollar is in your house, so let's say it's in your bank account, and then it's going to leave your house. It's either going to go to something that's going to help you, or it's going to go to something that's going to hurt you. Okay? It's either going to go to help you or hurt you. You designate where it goes. Your money is just sitting on the couch, it's just chilling there. You got to go tell it what to do, right? So with that, when it comes to thinking about like business and what should I get into, realistically, again, most people start a business when it comes to solving a problem, right? Most people, that's how they start a business. Most entrepreneurs have seen a problem that either they're having or somebody else had, and was like, yo, somebody should do that. You know what, why don't I do that? So that's where it starts. Great. So when it comes to whether it's manufacturing, whatever, you're solving that problem. But now the next piece of this is back to the budgeting and making sure that if you're going to start something, it's easy to start a business, right? It's hard to maintain it. Starting it is easy. Woo, that's easy. But maintaining it. So it's one of those is understanding budget and understanding, wait a minute, if I build it, they'll come, but are they going to come tomorrow? Do I have enough money if they came next week? Do I have enough money if they came 2 months from now? Budget. Y'all going to hear me talk about budget all day long, because that to me is the answer. When you have money in your pocket, do you just feel better? For those of y'all didn't say nothing, I don't know what y'all on, but listen, when I got money in my pocket, it's a whole different feeling. And I feel stronger, even if I don't spend it. I don't care about money, but I care about options. And you need money to have options, right? So the more money you have, the more options you have.
So I'm going to tell you, based on my observations being in Chicago, there's a lot of people spending a lot of so-called disposable income on these online purchases. I mean, we've gone to the same house multiple days in a week, not delivering one, but delivering, 5, 6, 10 packages a day. And it just continues. It cycles on. So from one aspect, from being a business owner who operates the delivery company, I thank you very much. Every time we go to your house and we deliver these packages and encourage you to do more. But at the same time, we're doing a lot of purchasing. We are when you break that number down, 1.8 trillion, a majority of it is in this room. There's roughly 50, almost 50 brothers in this room. Only 2 brothers manufacture. If they're not manufacturing everything you need, if they manufactured everything we need, everybody else in here is a consumer. There's only 2 people in here making the product. Everybody else is consuming. So that's one of our principal things that we've gotten into later in the generations is we move from producing to consuming. And the more we consume, the power goes to those who manufacture, produce, and even now in some cases, those who deliver. Because they're making the money. Every time you make a purchase, a share of that is being split up amongst all of those people who are delivering these goods to you. And then there's this whole myth of disposable income. And I'm sure the brother's going to hit on that. When you get that money in your pocket and you feeling good, that's a new one here, doctor. When you get that money in your pocket and you feeling good, you may have the propensity to want to spend. Because if you don't have that money in your pocket, you don't have that money in your account, you probably are not going to these places where you would end up buying something because you don't have the money to buy it. Or if you're going, you don't have the ability to complete that purchase. But once you have money in your pocket, now you're buying stuff. You can probably go to your closet and look at some stuff that you've never worn. You can look at books that you bought that you've never read. You could go online and look at all the movies that you purchased that you wish that you didn't spend that money on. You look at all these items that we're consuming, that's where our money is going. One brother told me, I think it was in this session or another session I was in over the last couple of weeks that I've been back, and he said we need to need less. We need to need less. And what we define as need is your own perspective, but I would say a lot of us need things that we don't really need. They're really wants that we've now dressed up as needs. And if we could get control of how we consume and redirect those funds into other means, we could probably pool funds together and start to do some other things.
What systems can we learn from, right, within the nation? And what can we implement? What systems? Because if we're talking about economic power and building community, we don't need a savior, we need systems, right? So what systems can we put into place to help us build community through economic power?
In business, the goal is to, let's say, spend $1 to get back $2. Hypothetically, I mean, you get back 3, 4, all that X, but essentially, spend $1, get $1, right? But then now the goal is to put systems in place to become more efficient to figure out a way to spend 75 cents and get $2. Spend 50 cents, get $2. Spend a quarter, get $2, right? And the only way to do that is by putting systems in place, leveraging, right? So just like somebody said, you said AI is a tool where he might have spent 10 hours on putting a presentation together and all that, now spending 10 minutes on that. That's a system. Another system that we don't use, what you just said, which we don't use as much as we should, is other people. Collaboration. Collaboration. And you know what? And I'm gonna drop this on you guys. I have spent 15 plus years talking to people about collaboration. And excuse me, it was until this year I have been beating my head against the wall trying to figure out why is it that when I go to somebody and I say, hey, listen, you want to have an event? They say, yeah, I do. Great. Are you targeting these type of people? Yeah, I am. Hey, yeah, me too. Hey, let's do it together. They might say, oh, yeah, let's do it, but it never happens, right? Never happens. And I've been beating my head against the wall for about 15 years trying to figure out why that was. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with a young lady that is in my village now where she said, oh, you know what, that sounds like it might be a trauma response. And when she said it, I was like, wow, I had a shift. Why is that important? We know what the word collaboration means. We know the benefits of it. But when you think about something that has a traumatic response, that's something that they want to have, but they've been what? Burned in the past. So there's a barrier that they can't get over to actually do that thing. Why is it important for me to understand trauma response? Because now I can actually approach a person differently. Instead of saying, hey, brother, listen, let's do this thing together. You put in 50, I put in 50, we make this thing happen. Makes sense, right? But with trauma response, I might say, hey, brother, let's do this thing. Listen, it's $50, but hey, on this first one, you ain't got to put no money in. You ain't got to put no money in, right? So I say that to say is, when we talk about these systems, one of the greatest systems is another person, because now you've now doubled your information, you've now doubled your resources, now doubled this, and now if there's something that you don't know, they can help you out with it.
Like you thought of trauma responses. One thing that comes to mind is network marketing. When we hear about network marketing, everyone says, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, but that's really what a lot of people are doing. And so when you think about things like network marketing, I know real estate is one, how we make money. I know life insurance, authors, and then even podcasting is the new way of making money as well with content creating. So I want to know, what is your take on that? And also, when it comes to budgeting, networking with maybe the Urban League, because they have actually financial advisors that can actually sit with you and create like a budget with you, saying how much money you make, how much money you need to save. You need to save 3 months to 6 months in order to start investing, just like you stated before. Like, what is your take on those things happening, or how do you think what strategy should we use to execute that?
I believe actually network marketing is one of the greatest creations of business opportunity, because it's essentially small version of franchising. So when you're franchising, all you're doing is buying a system, name recognition typically, in a system. Well, if you got a Mary Kay business or whatever network marketing company, you're essentially buying into that system and name recognition. Now, do I believe that everybody should take a test before they get into business to make sure they're doing it the right way? 100%. Are there some people in network marketing that shouldn't have a business at all? 100%. 100%. But when you actually take the actual root of what it is, the root of what it is actually a really good thing. And that's where you actually learn business tools and stuff like that or whatever, and then either you keep in that business and do other things, or you start your own business but take those principles that you learned, right? And what was the other thing you said about budgeting? Honestly, let me say it like this.
Yeah.
You can make money doing anything. Anything. People come to me and they ask, hey, I got some money, what should I invest? You can make money doing anything. What's going to be your passion, right? What's going to be something to where you're going to keep doing it when you keep hearing no's? What's something you're going to keep doing even if you lose some money? Do that. Learn about it more, because there's a difference between making cookies and the cookie-making business. I'm going to say that again. There's a difference between making cookies and the cookie-making business. Where we go wrong is there's a whole lot of entrepreneurs that shouldn't be entrepreneurs. man, you make a really good cookie. You know what you should do? You should start a business. No.
But is that because of lack of training? I think a lot of it is lack of training. People may not be skilled to do business. They might have the talent to do
There's
it.
a podcast called The Diary of the CEO. Great. Mr. Wonderful was on it a couple weeks ago. And they asked the question, can anybody be an entrepreneur? He said it, and I completely agreed. No. Can you do the action? Yes. Can you be successful in that action long term? Probably not. Because it takes more than just the action. Like, we're not going to even get into it today, but to be a business owner, I know people like, oh, I got a business. That's cool. When you get out here, no, it's not. It is real. And I'll tell anybody, now I'm allergic to a W-2. That's just me. But I'll tell anybody, keep your job. Because if you're not built for this, it will. The one thing I love about business does not care how old you are, your ethnicity, your gender. It don't care about none of that. I treat business like a woman, which is if you learn me and you respect me, I will open doors for you. But if you don't learn me and you don't respect me, I will break you. And that's literally what business does.
Being rich versus having wealth.
The difference between being rich and having wealth. Wow, that's an interesting one. So for me, the way I would put it is like this. From a wealth standpoint, if you have wealth, that wealth, and the way I would define it, is continuously producing additional contributions to that wealth. It is self-sustaining on its own. That's wealth. Riches, you could hit the lottery tonight, and you could be classified as being rich. By the end of next week, you can then be without any money. That's not rich. That's temporary. There's a temporary period because there's not a management element to it. Or, as the brother puts it quite well, there's no budgeting to once you've received all this money, what you're going to do and how you're going to put it into action so it can help you to build wealth. And then we quite often talk about like generational wealth. So how do you go from, how many brothers in here, well, I want to ask that question. But if you're working, you're getting paid to do what you do. Is that correct? And you take that money, you put it into your bank account. That's correct? Okay. So every time you get paid, then as the way I would look at it, you feel like you feel good with having money in your pocket, so you feel rich for that one period, that one point in time when the check is there. After you paid all your bills and hopefully you still have something left, you can then take some of those funds if everything else is taken care of and you got all your reserves in place, and now you can put that into place so you can start building wealth. These funds that are starting to generate money on their own while you continue to do the things you do, running your own business, working for somebody, and participating in whatever process to generate more money. So that's the way I would look at the riches versus wealth, and how does it continue on? How does it perpetuate over time? So it could then be handed down from one generation to the next generation as generational wealth. Now they just pick up what established. And there are many different tools you can use to build that. I mean, in the past, they talked about the use of life insurance. We often don't look, sometimes we may not have looked at life insurance as a vehicle by which to generate wealth, but it can be. I mean, you're putting a certain amount of money in over a certain period of time, and then there's a return on what you put in, unfortunately, when someone passes away. But there's also a cash value that you can utilize as well. And you can take those funds out once you've matured, and you can take those funds and deposit them into some other vehicle to help make you more money.
My question is, how do individuals who want to go from working into entrepreneurship or starting a business, what resources do you guys recommend for those individuals who want to make that leap but might be a little bit scared to make that leap?
Going from employee to employer, the first thing you have to know is budget. And to understand that employee typically spends money differently than an employer does. An employee typically spends money differently than a business owner does, okay? There's a mental shift that needs to happen. That's really when it comes to the budget. Because essentially, and here's what I hear all the time, you know what, I'm working my job, man, tired of my job. I really want to do my business full time. Anybody feel like that? Tired of my job, really want to do my business full time. You know what I'm gonna do? Man, my birthday or January 1st, new year, new me. I'm gonna quit my job then? No, you don't do that. There's a financial equation to when you leave your job. Your job is your investor who is not asking for equity. What are they asking for? Time. They won't make no decisions. They one of your best investors. They're not gonna make no decisions in your business. They don't want no equity. All they want is your what? Time. The equation is, real quick, is you have to figure out what your budget is. So let's say it costs you $3,000 to live in a month. You need to get that. Listen, you get that down as low as possible. Live like a college student. Live like, and if those didn't go to college, you heard about it. Live like you when you had $5, you were like, man, I'm gonna use this $5 for all week, right? You do that. You get that number down from 3,000 to 2. Now what happens is you get your savings, and you should have 3 to 6 months in savings. And then once your business, you ready for this? Once your business in a slow month, and let's just say your business, your overhead is $500. Your personal cost is $2,000. Your overhead for your business is $500. That's $2,500. In a slow month, your business has to generate $2,500. You say, man, this was the worst month we've had, $2,500. Now you can go full time in your business.
Utilize your network. So I think there's another brother in here who was in the car rental business doing some kind of car rental, car exchange. Might have been another brother. Keith, what were you doing? Did you do anything? Yeah, see, that's what I thought. So utilize your network. I know it's bad. But see, there's power in that past tense. So when you look to venture out, you go talk to him, hey, bruh, I'm gonna do this, and this. Keith to say, I'm gonna check this off for you. That was good. Let me draw this line through this for you, because this was taking money away from me. Oh, this person's looking to work for you? Let me tell you what happened when they worked for me. That network, what the brother is all about, that network is powerful. So what you've been doing, because this is the second Black Man Lab I've heard about your business, is already outstanding because you're promoting, but at the same time, you're opening up to receive information from other brothers. So brothers, if you have had a business and you're no longer doing the business, just because you're no longer doing the business does not make you a failure. It provides you with a wealth of information that you can share with somebody else. So over in Silicon Valley with all these startups, all the tech startups, they celebrate failures. They say fail fast. Get out there, do it, fail as fast as you can, take all the learnings from what you failed, apply it to the next one, do better the next time. So as the brother stated before, network, just what you did, brother, throw the question out. Find some other people who've already done some of the things that you're interested in doing, learn from them. Now don't take all of the information that they give you as completely factual, because there's a perspective that the brother has on what the time he was doing the business and how he did the business. But learn and then apply it for yourself. And then reach out to others who can help you out, who may know somebody who's into investing or may know someone who's on the law side to help you form your organization structure. And form a business structure that you understand, brothers. Don't launch a business and not have either an LLC or an INC in place when you launch your business, because there's a liability aspect that you need to protect yourself on. And if you don't know about that, there's plenty of brothers in here who can help you out. So that's what we got to do. As Brother Network talked about, we got to network and we got to share, even when that sharing may expose some things that did not go quite as well as what we would want them to do, because it's going to help the next brother to do outstanding.
Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship.
If you don't know, do a study on Herman J. Russell. Okay. Also, you have the Atlanta Black Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Fulton County and the any county Chamber of Commerce in the area. And also, we're working on a business directory for the Black Man's Lab as well. We'll get more information out to you guys on that.
You all who've been supporting the family of Deacon Johnny Holloman, if you've been following it, they did not indict the officer. So when you see her, when you see D, who comes to the Black Man Lab, keep them encouraged. We're not giving up the fight. We're going to continue to fight. But I just want us to think about what it was like after George Floyd in 2020, and just 5 years later, we got a video where they kill a 62-year-old man, and they can't get an indictment here in Georgia.
Repeat after me. I am linking this chain.
I'm linking this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I'm linking this chain.
I'm linking this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are links in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And we won't break here.
Ashe.